That was Slick Wick. So if Florida were not in the United States of America, travel from there would be banned. As a matter of fact, only 2 places on the entire face of the earth have more viral load than Florida. One is in Louisiana, where you had a governor who took steps and said, I'm going to shut down the New Orleans Jazz Fest, even though what an economic boom that is, because in New Orleans, it is New Orleans and then it's Louisiana. Yeah, we like your sugar cane. Yeah, we like your oil. Your shrimp are nice. But if you don't have New Orleans, you even lower down the economic chain. And the other who has more of a viral load is Botswana. So you have Florida, Louisiana, and Botswana. Now, Florida is wide open for business. It always has been. They had a big festival there. And ever since this festival and ever since then, their numbers have been spiking. They have higher numbers than at any point during the COVID outbreak. Any point. Their hospitals are overrun. They're pediatric. And they have a governor who is refusing to do anything about it. Like the cruise ships had to sue him so that they could demand people getting on cruises prove that they were vaccinated. Florida and Botswana have absolutely nothing. Botswana has a population of about 2.3 million people. The median income in Botswana is $12,000 to $18,000. That's pretty high for an African country, what was once considered a third world country. That's very high. The average life expectancy of Botswanans is 70 years old. The average literacy rate in Botswana is 87%, which is very high for anywhere in the world. And in the 1950s, they were much lower. But they had leadership that decided that they wanted to do things for them. They built them up educationally. And all of a sudden, like in Botswana, you have generally 6 years of secondary education, which is grad school and a little bit undergrad. They're very educated people. 87% literacy rate is very high. It's much higher than many places in the United States of America. Botswana also has only 26 public hospitals. So 2.3 million people have 26 public hospitals. Now, Florida's population, on the other hand, is about 22 million people. Its life expectancy is about 80 years, because if you've ever been to Florida, you see nothing but old people. All you see is cars and old-ass fists on the steering wheel. It ain't just dope-ass rappers. It's not just fast athletes. It's some old-ass white people there, too. They call it God's waiting room. Their average, their literacy rate is 80%, 80.3, about 81%, lower than Botswana's. Now, their number of public hospitals is 252. Now, Botswana has 28. Florida has 252 public hospitals, and that's not counting the hospitals in the world. That's not the Baptists or the Presbyterians or the private hospitals. That's just public hospitals, 252. So what on earth would these 2 places that are so different have in common when it comes to COVID? Now, what Botswana doesn't have, that Florida does have, is resources, abundant resources. They're one of the largest economies in the world. They'd be in the top 20 anywhere you go. Botswana's much lower. Now, they've done a lot better, but there's only so much you can do. Because if Florida were Botswana, they would already have shut the border down. They'd already said you couldn't come in. Botswana has shown you what leadership looks like when we start out in the 50s here and ascend. Florida has showed you what leadership look like when you go the other way. Botswana is having a problem with the COVID outbreak because they have a lack of resources. They don't have enough. They don't have enough hospitals. They don't have enough ventilators. They don't have enough medical team. They don't have enough vaccine. Florida's problem is a lack of reason. A lack of reason. You'll see a man who knows there's a problem, has the money and the capacity to do something to mitigate it, and he won't. So if Florida were Botswana, we wouldn't be having this conversation, because they would have already closed Sally Struthers would already be doing commercials over there with the little flies begging for money for kids. It is those who can do something that won't that is the greater sin. People that have decided to be leaders that would rather do harm than elevate. You have Botswana, who started out one way and ascended. You see Florida started out one way and they're going the other direction. One has a lack of resources, and the other clearly has a lack of reason. That's a little note from the GED section. We've got a Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.